Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Ameta Academy Friday Live. Now, whether you're joining us live or watching this at home or office after this live show, we're really happy and glad that you are here and spending some time watching us and listening to what we have to say. So, thank you very much. If this is your first Friday Live with us, welcome. And let me tell you what we do here. So every week during our Friday Live here at Ameta, we focus on helping security installers and integrators solve real-world surveillance challenges, not just by introducing products, but by sharing practical ideas, deployment strategies, and lessons we have learned from working with partners across North America. Okay, so that's what we do here. Now let's get into our episode for today. So before we get into the topic, I want to tell you why we chose this topic. So over the past years working in this industry, we have noticed that more and more surveillance projects are moving beyond traditional commercial buildings. We are seeing cameras being installed on construction sites, utility infrastructure, farms, storage yards, temporary deployments, different events like think concerts and other kind of like carnivals, remote gates, even vacant properties are being wanting to have some sort of surveillance system on site. And so while every one of these projects is different, they usually have one thing in common. They don't have the infrastructure we normally rely on. So what I mean by that infrastructure is, think about like no equipment room, no network closet, sometimes no internet, sometimes no power. And that's when the challenge starts when it comes to these kind of deployments. Because when it comes to these places where you don't have infrastructure, as we talked about, you're no longer asking about what camera would I use on this site, right? You're asking about the more important thing at that point and that is, how do I build a surveillance system that can actually operate here? That's exactly why we want to talk about it today. So that's our topic for today. What we're going to do today is show you how we have built a flexible outdoor deployment platform that installers can customize for different environments like we talked about, different customers, and different project requirements. Okay? So let's get into it. But before I get into the hardware aspect of it, let's first talk about the problem we're trying to solve. Next slide. I think every installer has had this phone call. A customer said, we need cameras installed as soon as possible. Everything sounds straightforward until you arrive on site and suddenly you realize there isn't an equipment room. There isn't a communication cabinet. There isn't a networking switch. There isn't fiber. There isn't even Wi-Fi. So nothing. It's just a site and the customer wants a CCTV system, an IP CCTV system there. And sometimes there isn't even utility power available, right? So what do you do in that situation? Now, all of a sudden, the cameras aren't the difficult part, right? The deployment is like, how do I go about providing a surveillance system at this site where there's nothing, practically nothing to power and connect the system? The deployment part is often overlooked. I think, in our opinion, that's one of the most important part of any project, off-grid or on normal site. And that's why we want to focus on that part today. Because most suppliers, even manufacturers, spend all their time talking about cameras. But cameras alone do not solve these types of projects, right? You need infrastructure, you need connectivity, you need power, you need a way to manage everything remotely. In other words, you need a complete deployment strategy. And unfortunately, most people, most suppliers, most companies do not talk about that kind of stuff. But that's exactly why we want to talk about it today, and we want to approach this with this solution. So let's start with what I believe is actually the most important component of the entire system. Next slide. When people first see the solution, their eyes immediately go to the cameras. And honestly, I think they're looking at the wrong thing, because the real hero of this deployment isn't the cameras. It's the cabinet. The cameras are on a cabinet. That's the hero. Because the cabinet is the platform that transforms almost any location into a surveillance-ready location. Think about what normally lives inside an equipment room. Your recorder, your networking equipment, your communication hardware, your power equipment. Now imagine taking all of that and moving it into a weather-resistant enclosure that can be installed exactly where the project needs it. So a flexible server room, if you will. Small, but flexible. That's what this platform does, right? Inside the cabinet. The reason I'm saying that, because if you look inside the cabinet, you can accommodate an NVR, a PoE switch, a cellular router, battery backup, power equipment, and other supporting hardware, depending on the project. Now, size is obviously a consideration at this point, but all of these things that I mentioned, we have tested it, can be accommodated in this cabinet. And one thing I want to also point out is that we intentionally designed this as a platform, not a fixed appliance. Because we understand every project is different. A deployment in Southern California has different environmental requirements than one in Northern Canada or in Minnesota. Some sites need additional cooling, like in Arizona, for example. Others need heating. New York, Pennsylvania, Minnesota. You would need heating. Some need larger battery system. Others don't. Rather than forcing every customer into the same configuration, we leave the platform flexible so you can adapt your solution to what your requirement is. The point of this cabinet and this solution is to give you that flexibility that you can do that you would have a thing to install a cooling system on or a heating system on or putting a battery in. So if heating is needed, you can add it. Cooling is needed, you can add it, right? We just want you to have the ability to build the right solution for the project and for your customer. And this platform gives you that opportunity, and that's why we think this flexibility is the biggest strength of this platform or cabinet, right? Okay, now you understand the platform, right? You understand how it can work for your needs. The next question every installer or integrator might be asking is this. Next slide. So where does the power come from, right? That's the question you should be asking right now. Like, be thinking about that question. So that's probably the first question that came to your mind when I was talking about it, and I understand that. We get this question all the time too, and it's a good question. At the moment, we don't supply the mounting pole or a power source as part of the solution, and that's by design. That's actually by design. It's not an oversight from our end. Because the reason we designed it this way is because, like I said, flexibility. Every situation, project would be different. Every power strategy would be different depending on the site. For example, think of a construction site, right? If you're working on a project on a construction site where they want a surveillance system and there's no infrastructure, obviously, but because there's construction, they needed power for other things that they're doing there. And so they have a power situation, like a generator running every day. So you don't need to worry about power in that situation. So we don't want to force you to have power to come with it where the situation does not require power to come with this box, right? So another example would be an agricultural property. They may want, it may make more sense for them to have a solar panel and a battery storage rather than a generator power, right? So you see, like in certain situations, you would want solar. In certain situations, you would want generator. Or let's say you're using this at a permanent installation. Think about a big parking lot, right? So you're next to a big building, you can run power. Power is not a problem in parking lot because you're still in civilization and you have the infrastructure. And so you will just want to run a utility power into this box, but because there's no other infrastructure, like internet is a problem, or having the ability to mount different cameras, because a parking lot, no walls, nothing, right? So you want to have a pole in the middle, and you have this cabinet covering 360-degree views of the entire parking lot. You have the power running in. You just need internet and an ability to store all the stuff inside a secure, weather-resistant cabinet. That's where no other option. If we had introduced, let's say, solar or generator, would not have worked in this situation. So, keeping these examples, like looking at these examples, I think you can see my point that flexibility was the thinking behind this solution when we were designing it, and that's why we did not focus on power when designing this solution, to give you that flexibility. Flexibility was the start of the show when designing this product, and we kept it this way even when it came to power. Okay. And that's getting into a little bit more detail about, like, generator is pretty simple. It can be anywhere, or if you're running a utility power, it could be anywhere. But for solar deployment, I just want to also point out the pole that you can be using for mounting this. Let's say you're using a pole to mount this in a parking lot example, as we talked about. If you need to, you can install a solar panel on the same pole on top of that and supply power direct to the box. We've done it. We've tested it. It works. So that's another flexibility that comes with it. All you need to do is source that pole, and then solar panels, which can be sourced easily. It doesn't have to be from us. And boom, you have a solution. That's why I think our philosophy has been different with this, and I think you can appreciate that, because we're not trying to sell you a fixed product, right? We're giving you a deployment platform that can be adapted to almost any environment, because ultimately customers do not pay you guys, like us as partners, for cabinets, right? They don't even pay us for particular cameras. They pay us to solve security problems, right? They want us to provide them to meet their security needs that they're looking for. And solving these problems starts with designing the right deployment platforms and strategies, right? And that's why I think this product solution is a star in its own way. Now that we've built, okay, so now that you understand the reasoning behind, you understand the platform, you understand the reasoning behind the way it was designed. Now let's look at what we have actually inside this demo unit that we have, and more importantly, why each component was selected. Next slide. So let's take a look at the actual demo unit that we have created here for our discussion today. And I want to point out something right away. This isn't meant to be a product display. It's meant to represent a real deployment. We have actually used this demo unit in our testing facility in our office. Actually, we also used it at a trade show for display. Everyone loved it. Every component on this unit. Oh, so let's go back to, like, what's on this unit. So yeah, every component on this unit was selected because it solves a different part of the surveillance challenge. So we have installed 4 different AI-based cameras. Our 37X PTZ, AI-based network horn speaker, INHAND industrial gate cellular router, and all different kinds of cameras that we're going to talk about later. All of them have been connected into a single outdoor-ready platform. Now, could we have installed, you may be asking, could we have installed 4 of the same cameras? Absolutely. But that would not reflect how the best surveillance systems are actually designed. Great surveillance isn't about repeating the same camera over and over. It's about giving every device a specific job. And that's exactly what we're going to look at next, because there's a design behind the choice of cameras and the equipment on this platform. And I want to share how all of those pieces were selected and how they came together to deliver a perfect outdoor off-grid surveillance solution. Next slide. Okay. To be honest, guys, this is one of my favorite parts of today's session, because it's talking less about, like, the specific micro details about a product, but instead it's talking about more as a system design, a platform design, if you will, of this solution. And I'm excited because I love building those solutions and designs with our partners to solve these surveillance challenges that we see out there in the world for different kind of projects. So that's the favorite part for me to talk about today. Okay, so let's start with what I usually start my conversation with my other installer partners, which is do not ask which camera is the best for any project. And that does not apply to this solution particularly. In general, what I'm talking about, when I start a conversation with our partner about designing and solving a project need and designing a solution for that project, I advise them to say, like, don't ask about which camera is the best, ask what job am I trying to accomplish, right? Because different problems require different tools. And that's why when we were designing this, we came up with different cameras because each camera is a different tool. Like how? Okay, you may ask how. So let's start with the PTZ. The 37X PTZ on this demo unit was selected because it acts like the eye of the entire deployment. It allows operators to quickly investigate activity across large areas because it can spin 360 degrees. It can patrol the area. You can have presets. And more importantly, it has a 37X zoom. So you can go zoom in onto point of interest and get more details and capture more details. So you can zoom in on incidents. You can cover large areas because of its ability to cover 360 degrees, pan and tilt up and down and sideways, and maintain. So overall, bottom line, maintain situational awareness over long distances because of all these capabilities. So that's why the 37X PTZ was selected for this. Now, what about identification? Okay, because keep in mind the sites they're daytime and they're nighttime, right? So site needs surveillance daytime and nighttime. So how do we identify incidents or let's say perpetrators during night? So that's where the Blacklight AI-ISP cameras come in. There are two models on it, the fixed lens model and the zoom model. The fixed lens model provides consistent wide coverage, while the motorized varifocal model allows installers to fine-tune the field of view based on the need. So think of it like a fixed camera is looking at it all the time, and then the zoom Blacklight camera gives you the ability to focus on something, even if, let's say you want to capture face or something more in details, you can use that to focus on and still get the great nighttime quality image without any supplementary light. Which is why this is most off-grid situation, there will be minimal to no lighting conditions. So Blacklight would be a great fit for that. And that's why we chose two different kind of Blacklight cameras, Blacklight AI-ISP cameras for it. And then we have the active deterrence camera. This one changes the conversation from simply recording incidents to actively discouraging them. So think about flashing lights, siren, two-way audio, custom voice prompts. So we have one active deterrence varifocal camera on it too for that reason. Now, not to say that our Blacklight cameras do not have active deterrence. They have it too. They have two-way audio, mic and speaker built in, and the red and blue lights. But usually you want Blacklight for discrete surveillance, and you want regular cameras for the active deterrence feature. And so that's why we also installed another varifocal camera. So you have the ability to zoom in and also use it as an active deterrence light. So you don't need to have like extra lights installed. I have seen some models that have like red and blue extra lights. You don't need that because with our cameras, you already have stuff built in. The red and blue lights are built in. You don't need extra equipment on your box so that you have more space to install the things that are necessary instead of like those just plastic cheap no use lights. Okay, and that's why we have an active deterrence camera, is because deterring an incident obviously is better than investigating an incident. Okay, and then finally we have the AI-based horn speaker. Well, that goes hand in hand with active deterrence, but on top of that, because you can use that to play loud sirens or even talk down. Even talk down if you have live operator looking at it, and that's why it becomes a communication tool as well, not just for security purposes, but also for general communication. Let's say if it's a site where you want to give instructions to people, you want to run announcements, live announcements, or broadcast scheduled messages for people on site, you can use that too. But when there's nothing happening, that horn turns into a surveillance security product, and it turns into an active deterrence siren device that you can utilize to deter unwanted behavior. So bottom line, guys, when you step back and look at the entire deployment, you realize something important. These aren't 5 separate products. They are one coordinated surveillance solution tied together on this one singular platform. And that was the goal, and I think it was successfully achieved. Now, of course, even with the best surveillance system, you need connectivity, right? We talked about in the beginning of of our webinar that power, we kept flexibility, but what about connectivity? Because you need modern systems for remote monitoring, you need connectivity, right? So what is our solution for that? Let's talk about that. Next slide. So for us, we understand that most of the time this box would be deployed where connectivity would be a problem. So we have introduced a product that we supply called INHAND Industrial Cellular Router into this demo. So what it does is it takes any cellular SIM card from any major network provider here in the United States, and it provides connectivity, the data that your camera system will require to be connected to our VMS platform or our mobile app so that it can be viewed remotely by the project manager or the guard on site or even the monitoring station. So by having that flexibility, that INHAND industrial router, and we'll look into the details of the product itself in a moment, you have the flexibility to deploy this now at places where the internet is usually not present, like construction sites, agriculture properties, remote gates, or even temporary deployments, right? So think about like a concert or a festival going on, right? You usually, most of the time, do not have internet there. So the cellular problem solves that issue. Like most sites, for example, the festival or the concert that I'm talking about, like you don't have internet, but you do have power, right? And that's why, going back to the whole point, power is something that's not a big problem most of the time. Internet connectivity is. That's why we are supplying you with an internet solution, but not necessarily power, and keeping that open and flexible. Okay, and so now in the past, I know people were waiting for, like, for these deployments, people would just say, no, it's not possible, or they will wait for if, let's say it's a construction site, for months on for infrastructure to be there, and then say, like, you will have security when you have an infrastructure in place. Not anymore. If they need it today, you can now do it. Okay. All right, so that's the connectivity part. Now let's talk about, because you need connectivity for remote management, as we talked about. Let's talk about how do you actually manage this from off-site or remote location, or a monitoring company. How would they manage this? Next slide. Okay, I think, guys, this is one of the biggest differentiators of the entire AI-based ecosystem. Getting cameras installed is only half the job. The other half is making sure the customer actually enjoys using the system every day. And that's why, because if you have been in the industry long enough, you probably experienced this. The installation goes perfectly. The cameras perform exactly as expected. But a few months later, the customer calls you. They're not happy. They're blaming you. And guess what? It's not because the camera is not working. It's because they don't like the app, or they don't like the VMS. The interface is outdated. Simple tests are difficult to do. User experience is horrible. And for you too, guys, it's not just the end user. For you guys too, when you were installing the system or configuring the system, it was a nightmare to do that. I know we supply some other brands as well. AIBASE obviously is our own exclusive brand, and so we developed it ourselves. So we kept everything in mind, and we know the system through and through. When we were designing it, we kept the installer's ability, or the integrator's ability, to use the system and configure the system in the smoothest and easiest possible way was our goal, right? And also simultaneously, the user experience for your customer, the end user who will be using the system, was also in mind. So we took those two customer profiles, like your needs as an installer and integrator, to be able to configure the system with ease and maintain the system with ease, and users' ability to use that interface to monitor their security system. And we blended them into our AI-based ecosystem. That's why even if you look at our AIBASE app, you can configure the system on your app for a quick and easy fix for your customer. If you're just on site and you're just rolling off your truck and you want to do something quick and you didn't want to wait to go back to your office, or you ask your project manager in the office to configure the system, you can just quickly do it themselves, or you can instruct your end user to even do it on the mobile app. Okay, but let's break it down. I'm kind of jumping the gun here. Let's break it down into the 3 different things that we offer in the AIBASE ecosystem. So we have the desktop VMS, which is designed for security operations, monitoring stations, and customers managing multiple locations. If it provides powerful live monitoring, playback, AI event management, system configuration, and centralized control from a single application. Okay. Think of it as your master platform and dashboard, right? It's the brain of the system. Our web VMS extends those capabilities into the browser. A lot of our competitors, AI-based competitors, do not have a web VMS. This is something cool. We are really proud of that because for most of the projects, at least free software, let me just say that, does not have a web VMS version. It's always a charge service and it's a completely different platform. And then you have to buy their AI and all that kind of stuff. Not with us. Our AI is built into the camera. So it's Edge AI. So the camera comes with it built in. If you want some additional AI, you can add the NVR to boost it up. But the VMS, the web VMS, is essentially a platform that gives you the capability to maintain, configure, access, and manage the system. Okay, so there's no software to install. Just log into any modern browser, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, what have you. You can use that Internet Explorer. You can use that to go to the web VMS and access your system from anywhere in the world and remote manage it, do quick health checks, and support customers without needing to be on site. So that's pretty cool. We're really proud of that, and we are still working on improving this web VMS. Currently we have a light version. We're working on a pro version that will give you installers and integrators even more flexibility. So think of it this way: the web VMS Lite is more like a lighter tool. You can use it as an integrator, but it's also focused on the end user as well. But the pro version would be more focused on the integrator, which is coming very soon. And then lastly, the AI Color Pro mobile app keeps the entire system in their pocket. It's a very easy to use app. You can view live view, playback, AI notification, PTZ control, and like I said, configure the entire system if you wanted to for some reason. For a quick thing, you can do that on the app. Not a lot of apps do that. Our app is very modern. It's one of the best apps out there, and so that's why it offers you one of the best features that a mobile app can offer. Okay, but here, don't take my word for it, right? What you can do is go to our website right now. We have a live demo environment available to all our installer partners and our potential partners who want to check us out check out our system, AI-based system, before signing up. They can go access our remote demo environment. You can download the mobile app, watch live cameras, review playback, explore the interface, and just get familiar with the product and get the feel of it and see what I'm talking about, right? And once you play with it, you will know what I'm trying to convey to you here. Okay, please go and experience it yourself. Okay, all right, guys. So we talked about the platform, we connected how it works, we now know how it managed. The next question is, where does a solution like this actually makes the biggest impact? So let's look at some real examples and deployment scenarios for this platform in the field. Next slide. So this solution actually makes sense anywhere where the surveillance requirement arrives before the infrastructure does. So construction sites, as we talked about before, are the easy examples. Storage yards are another great application, thinking about like large open areas, valuable equipment, vehicles coming in and going out. Often with very little existing infrastructure, this solution is a great fit for those sites. Agriculture properties are becoming another fast-growing opportunity for this. In agriculture sites, you would be monitoring equipment, livestock, or buildings, even remote buildings. You can secure them with this system. So that's a good fit. Utility companies face similar challenges when it comes to surveillance systems. So think about remote pump station, electrical substation, water treatment infrastructure, right? So those utility infrastructures mostly are not fully fleshed out or does not support deployment of a sophisticated surveillance system like AIBASE. So with this kind of option, you can do that, right? And then other temporary events that we talked about, festivals, outdoor concerts, sporting events, pop-up facilities, what have you. Those are also great opportunities for this product. Because the common thing across all these sites is in the cameras. It's the deployment challenge that has been solved by this platform. The flexibility of no infrastructure and deploying this. Okay. Now let's talk about a few common things that we have learned from our installer partners through the deployment of this product. Next slide. So one of the first lessons that we have learned is, we've talked about it, is that infrastructure is usually the hardest part when it comes to these kind of deployments, not the cameras itself. So we have solved that problem, but we also have the kind of cameras that would solve other problems in those sites, like darkness at night and being ability to communicate remotely to whoever is on that site. Through our speakers, through our Blacklight cameras, and through our INHAND routers, we have been able to solve that problem. So that's kind of like the challenge that we saw was there, and we addressed it. Lesson number 2 that we'll learn, that best solutions are modular. Every project is different. Every customer is different. One site requires solar, the other requires generator. One site requires PTZ, the other requires fixed cameras, right? So we kept it modular. That's what the response. We learned it. We implemented it. And finally, as you just talked about, the customer experience. So we did a lot of work in developing our software platform to connect all of this and give the best experience possible to the user, but also, more importantly, to the installer and the integrator, so that they can do their job the way they intend to do. Okay. All right. So that's kind of like the whole thing about the existing solution. But I also want to give you a glimpse into what's coming next from AIBASE when it comes to off-grid surveillance. So let's look into what's on the roadmap. Next slide. Everything we talked about today is available right now, right? But we understand there are a couple of things that we can do to solve other kind of situations when it comes to off-grid solution in the field. So the first solution we're developing is a solar-powered surveillance trailer. So think of it as taking today's deployment platform, making it fully mobile, but also having a power on it, right? So you can take that trailer anywhere, power comes with it, and you can install the same kind of cameras. It'll be the same kind of like infrastructure to accommodate all the kind of equipment, but it will have the ability to have its own power, right? And it would come with a generator as well, not just the solar, but also a backup generator. Okay. And the second solution that we're going to be releasing very soon is the completely self-contained surveillance camera. So it has a built-in solar panel, it has a built-in battery, it has a built-in cellular connectivity. The camera itself takes the cellular SIM card. There's no equipment cabinet, no NVR, no internet connection, no local infrastructure. You just deploy this camera then, right? Because this camera takes in the connection, it has power, it has connectivity, it's outdoor rated. It's a complete standalone, fully off-grid solution. And all of these, both of these solutions are expected to be released in the coming few months. So within this year, possibly in Q3 of this month. But we'll keep you posted on that. And we're really excited to offer that solution and add those two solutions to our AI-based off-grid solution portfolio. Okay. Specifications, don't hold me to that. They might change over time, but I just wanted you to give the idea of like the basic idea behind it. So that will remain the same. specific specs might change, but overall concept will remain the same. Okay. All right. So that's kind of pretty much what we wanted to cover when it comes to off-grid surveillance. But I do want to emphasize one last point before we wrap up this conversation. Next slide. Guys, customers really rarely call us asking for a specific camera. They call because they have security challenges. Maybe it's a construction site with no power, it's a remote grid with no internet, a storage yard with no equipment, or a temporary project that needs protection immediately. The installers who create the most value aren't the ones who simply recommend a camera. They are the ones who solve the entire challenge. Power, connectivity, coverage, remote management, ease of use. You solve all these 5 challenges, you would be one of the best integrators and installer out there, and your business will be nonstop for you. Okay. So that's why I think this kind of like platform gives you that idea about like how you solution it for your customer and how you stand out against your competition as an integrator and installer. And we're here to help you achieve that. And this is one way of us doing it for you. Okay. I know we're going to have to eventually move on to our live Q&A. But before we do that, I want to invite you one more time to experience the AI-based platform yourselves. Okay, next slide. Because the reality is I can say whatever I want to here. At the end of the day, you guys would need to experience the product, the platform itself, to understand what I'm saying and why am I saying that. Because at the end of the day, we want you to experience the fruit of our labor, the hard work that went into this developing this platform. I want you guys to experience that yourself. So please go to our website. There's a QR code on the screen right now. You can scan that if you want a quick access to our website right away on your phone. Or you can just type in us.ametagroup.com/demo, and you should be able to access our demo environment. Go have fun, play with it. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you want us to improve. We're more than happy. We're always improving. We're always taking feedback. We're always improving. But the point is, right now, I think it's in the best form to date to enable you guys, installers and integrator partners, to have a seamless software experience. Okay. Okay, so that's the software, and a little bit about us too, Ameta. I know we talk a lot about AIBASE. I just want to talk about Ameta as well a little bit before we get into the Q&A. Just bear with me. Next slide, please. We don't see ourselves, guys, like Ameta here at Ameta, we don't see ourselves as a company that simply ships products, because products are only one piece of a successful project, right? You guys know this more than me. What installers really need is a partner, someone they can call when they're designing a complex system, someone who can help select the right products for the application, for the project, someone who can answer technical questions before and after the installation, someone who stands behind their product, their hardware product, their software product, their reputation. They care about who they are. They care about what they sell. They care about their reputation. And by that extension, care about who they work with. If you are the kind of people who want this kind of partnership, we're the right company. We're the right fit for you. Try us and you will not be disappointed. Give us a call and we'll be happy to share what we are all about and help you get successful with whatever project you may be working on. It could be one liquor store or it could be 15 gas stations. We're here for you. Okay. We're always happy to help. We're always there as partners. Okay. All right. Okay. I think that's a wrap for the product presentation and some of the AIBASE and Ameta discussion that we had. Now I want to hear from you. I would love to hear from you, right? So next slide, please. Let's talk about what kind of projects are you working on right now? Have you been asked for a secure location where there wasn't a power internet? Are you seeing more demand for temporary surveillance? Hit us up with your questions in the chat and we'll be replying live. If you're watching it after live, you can leave a comment. We've been replying to comments too. We monitor our comments and live chat. So whatever you're doing right now, either watching live, if you're watching live, put it in the chat. If you're watching after the fact, then leave a comment and we'll get back to you. Okay. Okay, so we have a question here. Does the Air Color Cloud work with the major monitoring stations? If you mean by like do our cameras connect? So monitoring station. Okay, let me set the context a little bit more. When you say monitoring stations, you mean like the professional services out there, right? So those people have their own platform. If they're using, for example, IMEX, right? If IMEX or IMEX, some people call it IMEX, some people call it IMEX. But if that's the platform, for example, you're talking about, our cameras can connect to their platform. We have successfully integrated our cameras to our entire system with them. Yes, so they can use our cameras to do monitoring. But if someone wants to use our platform for monitoring, although the product was not designed per se for like a full-scale commercial monitoring operation, it was more kept in mind for like the monitoring from the user's own perspective, like their own security guard or their own project manager or security manager. It can be used as a monitoring platform, but our cameras and system can also connect to an existing monitoring platform, if that's a question. I hope, Daryl Sinclair, I hope I answered your question. If you need further clarification, obviously give us a call. We'll be more than happy to chat and get into details with you as well. But based on my understanding of your question, that there shouldn't be any problem using our cameras and connecting them to an existing monitoring service, or using our platform to monitor your own sites. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad that I was able to answer your question. Any other question, guys? Please keep them coming. We're here to answer all the questions. We'll give you a couple more minutes. Usually, I know our sessions go we keep a 30-minute window. We're already kind of over time, but it doesn't matter. We have our partners asking questions. We're happy to stay for however long it takes. If you want to understand a bit more details about our partner program, there's a QR code on the screen right now. You can scan it. It'll take you to our partner program page. It'll tell you what makes us special, what makes us unique, and why we are the company to work with. So please take a look, and then if you think that we are the right fit, there's an application form right on the page at the bottom. Scroll down and fill out the application. Usually we review all the application within 24 hours and get back to you. Just to be clear, we only work with installer partners and integrators. We don't go to end user at all. And so our focus, our company, our services, our operation are designed around that. Does it come with pole mounting options? Yes, the cabinet comes with the pole mounting options. Absolutely. You just have to source the pole, the mounting straps, and the rails there. It comes with the mounting option. Oh, some of our partners. There's another question. Some of our partners have asked if the cameras have SD card storage for cases where there is zero cellular connection. Yes. All of our cameras can take 256 gigabyte worth of size of storage card. All of our AI-based cameras can do that. So if you have a site where you don't want to deploy local NVR storage, you can put the SD card into the cameras and store it locally, or you can connect it to any cloud service. We have many cloud services that are compatible with our cameras. People use 3DI on our cameras. People use OpenEye on our cameras. People have used Digital Watchdog on our cameras. So they're storage options, but our hardware, because our hardware, like I said, comes with built-in AI. You don't need to get an AI package. if you use our ecosystem. But if you have another ecosystem, you're using digital watch or what have you, you can use our cameras and connect to them, but also store. Okay, thank you for clarifying, Nancy. PTZs and select large cameras can take up to 512 gigabytes of card storage as well. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, so it's 256 to 512 depending on the model. For example, our access control doorbell takes 512 gigabytes. And just to remind you, every software that comes, so all three software, the mobile app, the desktop VMS, the web VMS, are included with our hardware. They come with the hardware. There's no extra fee. There's no per user fee. There's no storage fee or what have you with any of our stuff. You just buy it as equipment one time, and it's yours for life. And we support it. The tech support, all the stuff that comes with it. Once you buy our equipment, you buy our service for life. Okay, I'm going to give it another minute or so, 30 seconds to a minute, and see if we have any more questions. If not, obviously we can call it a day now, and then wait for your comments or your calls, your emails. There are multiple ways to contact us. When I say emails, my inquiries through our contact us information on our website. And just so you know, guys, like I said, we only sell to integrators and installer partners. Once your account is approved, when we approve you, you should be able to log in into our website, and the pricing will become visible to you. But unlike many other competitors out there, our website allows you to purchase online, build your own quotes online, check pricing online, experience the product online, watch the tutorials online, and also purchase online. You can do a checkout like you would buy from any other, let's say, I mean, Amazon, right? Just go buy the product. You can do that on our website online. But if you want to speak to us, we're more than happy to obviously help you out with anything that you need, even order placing. You can do that too. But if you want to do it on your own, you want to use the website to do it on your own time. Let's say it's after hours, we're closed. 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Pacific time is our time. If you want to do it afterward, let's say it's at night, it's on the weekend, you can do it online on our website. And the shipping time is not a website order, or you do it through us, it's the same thing for us. It doesn't really matter. All the orders are processed the same day. Okay, I think that's it for us for today. If you have any other questions, you can obviously contact us or leave a comment on this video, and we'll be able to, we'll be happy to get back to you. But like always, thank you so much for sparing your time taking time out of your day and joining us today. Click that subscribe button, click that like button if you like what you do here. Subscribe to our channel. So that you can get notification of our upcoming webinars and activities. We do it every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific or 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So whatever works for you, you can join us live. We're more than happy to do it here live with you. Or if you want to, you can watch it afterwards. But thank you once again for tuning in, and we'll see you next Friday. Have a good weekend. Enjoy.